Have you ever wondered what would happen if the United States sent troops to the Philippines? Imagine 1,000 U.S. Marines and Army soldiers stationed there, a constant presence in a region grappling with rising tensions. This isn't some alternate history scenario. It's a question with very real implications for the future of the Asia-Pacific. The Philippines, a nation of islands strategically positioned at the edge of the West Philippine Sea, finds itself increasingly caught in the middle of a geopolitical tug-of-war. On one side you have China flexing its military muscles and asserting its territorial claims with growing assertiveness. On the other, the United States, a long-standing ally of the Philippines, seeks to maintain its presence and reassure its partners in the region. The deployment of 1,000 troops might seem like a drop in the ocean, a purely symbolic gesture in the grand scheme of things. But in a region where perceptions matter as much as hard power, even a small contingent of American boots on the ground could send a powerful message. It's a clear signal to Beijing that Washington is not about to abandon its allies or cede influence in the region without a fight. But this show of force comes with risks. China is unlikely to sit idly by as the U.S. strengthens its military footprint in its backyard. The move could easily be interpreted as a provocation, further fueling tensions and potentially sparking a dangerous escalation. To understand why the Philippines has become such a focal point for U.S. China rivalry, we need to look beyond the immediate disputes in the West Philippine Sea. Zoom out from the map, and you'll notice something crucial: the Luzon Strait. This narrow waterway separating the northern Philippines from Taiwan is more than just a shipping lane. It's a potential flashpoint, a choke point that could determine the fate of any future conflict between the U.S. and China over Taiwan. For China, control of the Luzon Strait would be essential for projecting power into the Pacific and breaking out of the so-called First Island chain. For the U.S., keeping the strait open is crucial for coming to Taiwan's aid in the event of a Chinese attack. The deployment of U.S. troops to the Philippines could be seen as a way to bolster defenses around this critical waterway. It would provide the U.S. with a forward staging ground, allowing it to respond more quickly and effectively to any Chinese aggression in the area. But it's a risky gamble. By placing troops in such a sensitive location, the U.S. risks turning the Philippines into a potential target, dragging it further into the crosshairs of a conflict it can ill afford. China's reaction to the hypothetical deployment of U.S. troops to the Philippines is unlikely to be welcoming. Beijing views any strengthening of the U.S. military presence in the region as a direct challenge to its interests and a blatant attempt to contain its rise. We can expect a flurry of angry pronouncements, fiery editorials in state-run media, and perhaps even some symbolic military exercises in response. But beyond the predictable saber-rattling, China might be tempted to take more concrete action. It could increase its military activities around the Philippines, sending more warships and aircraft into the West Philippine Sea to test the resolve of the U.S. and its allies. We might see more aggressive actions against Filipino fishing vessels or attempts to harass U.S. ships and aircraft operating in the region. The danger is that these actions, intended to send a message, could easily escalate into a dangerous miscalculation. A minor incident at sea, a miscommunication, or a simple misunderstanding could quickly spiral out of control, leading to unintended consequences that neither side desires. The relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines is a complicated one, marked by a long history of both cooperation and conflict. The two countries have been allies for decades, bound together by a mutual defense treaty signed in 1951. The Philippines hosted two major U.S. military bases, Subic Bay Naval Base and Clark Air Base, until their closure in the early 1990s. In recent years, the relationship has seen its share of ups and downs. The Philippines, under former President Rodrigo Duterte, pursued a more conciliatory approach towards China, downplaying maritime disputes and seeking closer economic ties. However, the current administration under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has adopted a more assertive stance, strengthening ties with the U.S. and seeking to modernize its military. The hypothetical deployment of U.S. troops to the Philippines would mark a significant shift in the relationship, bringing the two countries even closer militarily. But it's a move that is not without its critics in the Philippines, where some view the U.S. presence as a relic of colonialism and a potential liability in any conflict with China. The hypothetical deployment of U.S. troops to the Philippines doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's part of a larger pattern of increasing military activity in the region, as both the U.S. and its allies seek to deter Chinese aggression and demonstrate their commitment to regional security. In recent years, we've seen a surge in joint military exercises involving the U.S., the Philippines, and other regional partners like Japan and Australia. These exercises, often involving thousands of troops, warships, and advanced weaponry, are designed to simulate real-world scenarios and enhance interoperability among allied forces. Just last month, the annual Balikatan exercises between the U.S. and the Philippines saw the deployment of thousands of troops and sophisticated military hardware, including HIMARS rocket launchers and F-35 stealth fighters. These exercises send a clear message to Beijing. The U.S. and its allies are prepared to defend their interests in the region, and they are not afraid to show it. The rivalry between the United States and China in the Indo-Pacific is not just a military one. It's a multifaceted competition playing out on multiple fronts: economic, diplomatic, and technological. The United States is actively seeking to counter China's growing influence in the region through trade agreements, infrastructure investments, and diplomatic outreach. The Biden administration has made it a priority to strengthen alliances and partnerships in the Indo-Pacific, seeing them as crucial to countering China's rise. The United States is also working to deepen economic ties with countries in the region, offering an alternative to China's Belt and Road Initiative. The deployment of U.S. troops to the Philippines could be seen as part of this broader strategy, a way to shore up alliances and bolster the U.S. presence in a region of growing strategic importance. But it's a strategy that will require more than just military might. The United States will need to demonstrate its commitment to the region through concrete actions, not just words, if it wants to effectively counter China's growing influence. The deployment of U.S. troops to the Philippines is a high-stakes gamble. While it might deter Chinese aggression in the short term, it also carries the risk of escalating tensions and potentially sparking a conflict that neither side wants. The West Philippine Sea is already a powder keg, and any miscalculation or accident could have disastrous consequences. Both the United States and China have a vested interest in avoiding a direct military confrontation. A war between the world's two superpowers would be catastrophic, not just for the region, but for the entire world. But the risk of miscalculation is real, especially in a region where military activities are increasing and tensions are running high. The challenge for both sides is to find a way to compete without stumbling into conflict. This will require clear communication, a willingness to compromise, and a recognition that there are no easy solutions to the complex issues at stake in the West Philippine Sea. The future of the Indo-Pacific remains uncertain, shaped by a complex interplay of geopolitical forces, economic interests, and historical rivalries. The hypothetical deployment of U.S. troops to the Philippines is just one piece of this puzzle, a move with the potential to reshape the regional security architecture and escalate tensions between the United States and China. The coming years will be crucial in determining the trajectory of the region. Will the United States and its allies be able to deter Chinese aggression and maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific? Or will China's growing military and economic might eventually reshape the regional order in its favor? The answers to these questions are far from clear. What is certain is that the stakes are high, and the decisions made in the years ahead will have profound consequences for the future of the Asia-Pacific and the world. So what if Trump sends troops to guard the Philippines? It's a complex question with no easy answers. It's a story of geopolitical rivalry, military maneuvering, and delicate diplomatic balancing acts. It's a story that highlights the growing tensions in the Asia-Pacific and the potential for miscalculation and conflict. But it's also a story that reminds us of the importance of staying informed, of asking critical questions, and of engaging in thoughtful discussions about the challenges facing our world. The future of the Indo-Pacific, and indeed the world, depends on it. Subscribe for more amazing content and keep wondering. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.